Today, I have a bit of a confession to make. I am really getting desensitized to clients' requests when they start with, I'd like to save money. They always have like, oh, I don't have money for this, I need to save money there, and I'm kind of tired of hearing that. So let's talk about that today. So what usually happens, either a client or a salesperson will start conversation like that. We have a project, but client has no money for it. Or they can't afford something, or they need to do this as cheaply as possible. And the biggest reason that I have issues with that is that means somebody is going to be taking shortcuts somewhere. Now, in e-discovery process that we've all kind of established, we have steps that we follow: step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. They're all known, understandable, they all make sense, and they create, the workflow that we're all used to. And whenever somebody says we don't have money, that means they're going to start taking shortcuts that are going to cause nothing but problems. So one example is somebody's going to say, oh, we don't have money to process this. We're just going to do, for this set of data, we're going to Bates number this in Adobe and then send you the images that you can turn into a production and send it out, right? So they're completely like throwing out all these steps that we used to and trying to create shortcuts. Well, I'm sure you'll say, well, so what that they want to take shortcuts, right? They're paying for it. They can decide what steps to take and what steps not to take. And kind of fair enough, but what usually winds up happening is there's going to be some kind of manual process that would want somebody to go through, and somebody would happen to be either me or my department, and someone has to sit there and manually do something, and it's just going to take up time from a person who's doing that work manually. They could be doing like 5 things automatically, right? They could be running processing, taking off production, doing this and that. And when you have a client that's trying to do all these shortcuts and we're doing manual work, someone has to sit there and do the actual manual work. And yes, they're billing hourly for it, but that means they also can't do anything else. So that really interferes with the workflow inside the department, and I really don't like that. But the biggest reason why I hate all these money-saving techniques is because in the long run, they rarely save any money. And they turn into a pain in the butt for me. So after we've done all these shortcuts, the client comes back later and says, oh, well, the judge ordered this, or somebody said that, or now we have to do this. And now we have to go through this cumbersome process that was done before, try to untangle things, try to find things that we did, and try to kind of recover from that in order to do what needs to be done. If we followed the original proper e-discovery process, followed all the steps as necessary, it would have actually been cheaper in the long run than trying to do these supposed shortcuts and then try to recover from them. And boy, I've done tons of them. We've did some crazy stuff. We deleted native files for documents that need to be produced. We've removed extracted text. We messed with images. We've done all this stuff. And what happens afterwards, months or years later, somebody comes back, oh, we have different search terms. We need to redo this. Okay, we ran the searches, but now we don't have native files, so we're missing something else. Who deleted it? Why they deleted it? Who authorized this process? And it just turns into an absolutely horrible mess. And everyone's pointing fingers at each other, trying to find emails to prove who said what, and just do things the right way to begin with would have been easier and cheaper. We had this one Relativity workspace that we've completely destroyed by the request of a client, right? We were trying to save money and they said, okay, everything is over, it's done, but we still want to keep the workspace online. Let's start chopping it up. Let's delete native files for anything that wasn't produced. Let's start deleting documents from this party. Let's start doing this. And then what happened is that workspace got transferred to a different vendor, that transferred to another vendor, then it was armed, unarmed, restored, and eventually it came back to us saying, hey, you guys held on to this data. What did you do? Why is this missing? Why is this doesn't work? And we were like always on defense trying to prove, no, the client was trying to save money. We were trying to do this. Okay, we need to prove that this was done. And everybody digging through emails, trying to find proofs that deletions were asked or shortcuts needed to be taken or something like that. And eventually we were looking like idiots, even though we did what we're supposed to. And as far as non-hosted matters, the issues I've seen is where client is trying to do things themselves. They try to do things in Adobe, they try to do things in Outlook, they try to run searches in a tool that doesn't have all documents indexed, and then you always get some kind of half-assed results, and then you have to deal with repercussions of those results basically. All right, so actually there is one specific situation where I don't mind trying to help client and try to figure out a difficult situation they've been put in. So let me explain what that one situation is. So different clients deal with different matters, deal with different quantities of data, right? Sometimes you'll get a matter where number of documents being produced, let's say like in a few thousands. You produce a few thousand documents, then you receive production for a few thousand documents, something like that. And then other matters, you deal in tens of thousands of documents. You produce a lot and then you get back outside productions. Well, there's some cases where you have a client with a small matter and they produce, you know, hundreds, maybe a few thousand documents, like small productions. But then outside production comes in and it's just giant, right? It's either lots of gigabytes or huge page counts, just something like enormous, completely not proportional to the case that we're dealing with. And so a few things could have happened there. Either the other side just kind of dumped data on them just to overwhelm them, or there were like legitimately video files or something like that that got produced. Or maybe there was a bad ESI stipulation and somebody said to image Excels or something stupid like that. So that's a situation where you may want to review outside production received and see what is going on. Maybe use some kind of DAT viewer to look at files, analyze it a little bit, and see, did we get tons of movie files? Because that's just going to rack up the hosting cost for the client. Or maybe there was excessive number of images or something like that. So that's where I would do a little bit of analysis and try to figure out what's going on. I would still preserve all that production in the folder so we have it, and then maybe load something partial or something like that. Again, documenting things to a client. Again, our client might be a victim here because somebody is just trying to dump data on them to overwhelm them. And in that case, I would be sensitive and I would try to figure something out. So there you go, guys. Let me know if clients saving money for themselves turns into a pain in the butt for you as well. Put it in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you on another video.